Yeah, we did 34,000.
Let me know when we're good.
We are,
That's just
Okay.
up to 30.
Okay, that sounds good. It's this,
Easy in.
I was gonna say, if she's having trouble at all until.
No. No.
We're good. Okay, I'd like to thank everybody for coming out tonight, November 19th, 2025, 6:30 PM for the Midco Solid Waste Board of Directors meeting. We are live. We have, we don't have a lengthy agenda tonight, but we have a couple of presentations. I'd just like to remind everybody to please be respectful of everybody when they are speaking and try to stay on topic. First item on our agenda, review and approval of the August 27th, 2025 meeting minutes. I would entertain a motion.
I will make the motion, although I did have one question. I actually spotted what I think is a typo. Under facility manager report, are the octagonal containers rigid or ridge?
Richard.
In that case, autocorrect did its thing. It's about a little more than halfway down that page on the left.
Okay, I have a motion with a correction. Do I have a second?
Sure.
Do we have a second? Is there any other corrections or conversation, questions, concerns?
Just in one or two places, my name is spelled, my last name is misspelled. It's
Well,
most.
that's a
Okay,
big fact.
for the record,
It's DORR.
okay, for the record, if we could make a note to, please,
Know why that happened?
you don't want to be referenced as a
Just
door.
about- But most of the time it's correct. In other places, there's once or.
So just to confirm, it's Greg, D-O-R?
R.
D-O-R-R. Okay, if we could make that change and going forward, we'll get that right.
My computer will stop moving.
Okay,
There might be a way to teach it with the minus.
if there's no other questions or concerns, we'll put that to a vote. All those in favor with the changes,
I was not here, so I will abstain.
okay?
Thank you for letting us.
One abstain.
Thank you for your confidence.
Okay, next item on the agenda, public and director comments. With comments only for non-agenda items. Is there any directors that have anything they'd like to bring to the board? Anybody from the public?
Yeah, no.
Okay. Hey, we'll move that one along. Next item on our agenda, the facility manager report. I know we've all had a chance to look at the packet, and we've got some expenses that are coming or in the process. And Dave, if you could explain that,
Sure, so,
that would be good.
we're trying to get every last ounce of life out of everything we have at the transfer station, and, we didn't quite make it with the, containers. We were planning it, but we were kinda didn't make it till next year, so we had to kinda step up the whole getting the new container part. When the first one failed, I started getting quotes and stuff, and then I ran across another vendor who's pretty hungry right now, and we got some really good pricing on these containers, like half the price of everybody else. So it was a no-brainer. I've never all seen those prices again, but. So Vinny and I did a lot of measurements and double checking, and we picked these octagonal containers because they're supposedly a little bit more resilient in terms of rust and everything, and not flat top and shed the water. So we're gonna have 6 new containers, which is gonna go along with, our planning for the refurbishing and replacement of the compactors, and then the drainage system underneath, and doing some kind of dog houses on top to kind of keep the hoppers kind of from getting rained into. That's another thing, you don't really want your waste getting that, because it makes it heavy and pay more. So that was one item, and we should be getting those probably, I'd say, next month. the first three, I think he said.
Yeah.
And, then we should get the rest by the end of the year, I'm hoping. But just getting three will get us through this rough patch that we're in right now, because we have no spares, and one of the ones we're using right now is in really rough shape. Public Works has been helping kind of baby those along, welding them up and fixing them, and I think we see one every other week just about to be fixed. You see the photo in the for it. The second thing is, the cell development plan, we felt like we were gonna have enough space and take us until the spring of next year. And the reality is, we just filled up quicker than we thought. So we got to create that new cell and move that new landing area back. Bill Bow and I were actually down there with the consultant, walking around and it just filled up really quick. Cause we're in a smaller area right now, so it's filling up quicker. We don't have this vast area where we're filling. It's kind of in a notch and it's just happening a lot more quickly than anticipated. That is what we have to do is we have to hire somebody with a large excavator to kind of move all of the daily cover off of the area, and actually the pad that where the trucks drive up and turn around. We're gonna move that whole area back further downhill about midway. And then all that area where we were working will be excavated out. We'll put the fill off to the side, and then we'll start filling that back half. And then work our way out and start connecting the two landfill bounds, so to speak. So that's the second thing, and then the third thing was, we had a capital improvement plan for the bulldozer, which is the whole all of the tracks, they call it the undercarriage. And Vinny and the operator were looking at the bulldozer and we noticed the final drive housing forward, which is really bizarre because that's like a big piece of cast, right? Big bell housing with the internal components of the final drive and the gear that drives the track are. And it literally had just a big chunk of the cast steel missing out of it. So you can't drive it when it's like that, because if something gets inside and, then you create more problems for yourself. So the timing was pretty good to say, all right, we're gonna do the undercarriage. Let's get Beauregard to take the bulldozer down over there to do the undercarriage, and at the same time fix the final drive, which was not planned, but the undercarriage was. When they took the final drive off, they looked inside. A lot of the components were pitted from being exposed to the weather. And then when they got to the other side, they found the other final drive was leaking. So those two things had to be repaired unexpectedly. There's not really much you can do about that kind of thing. It's not like an operator error thing. It's just a fact of wear and tear in an abusive environment. And at the same time, I think we fixed the wiper blade. We did a 6,000 hour preventative maintenance that had to be done on it. And there's a couple other little things that we had to fix. Well, it was right there, so we did those things while we were at it. That money would be coming from equipment replacement reserve, which is pretty much what that's for. It's kind of, you don't always plan for these things to happen. Kern brought up the point of should we just sell the bulldozer? And the bulldozer is an expensive piece of equipment, and I think what we need to do is when we get to the next landfill capacity estimate, we need to kind of see where we're at in terms of time, and then try and calculate out how long we think we can stretch this bulldozer out. And if we need to buy another bulldozer. So, hypothetically, we might say, all right, we got to nurse this bulldozer along for another 4 years, let's say, so we only make one other purchase. Or we're gonna look at the whole lifespan of the landfill and say, all right, looks like we're gonna need 3 bulldozers between now and then. I'm not saying that's gonna happen, but we gotta go through that exercise to determine what we need to do. Theoretically, you can keep this bulldozer going forever, but it starts getting to a point where the costs of wear and tear and replacement on certain items, it's, cost prohibitive. So we'll look at that.
We'll have the airspace and all that stuff fire mark.
Yeah, and it's not a lot, it's not a big exercise to do that. It's just not something we really were focusing on because we didn't really have like bulldozer problems till this recently. But it's kind of good that it happened in that regard, because it's making us think about that little piece of it and how we have to kind of forecast, how long are we gonna need this piece of equipment, and are we gonna need another one? And where's that breaking point, and where do we make that move? So there's that, those are the three big items.
Only focusing on you, I can.
One of the other thing I wanna talk about is we had our landfill inspection, which we did really well on. We had also had another meeting with the DEP about PFAS, and, they're mandating us to start sampling for PFAS 3 times a year with our normal sampling, until we have 10 data points. We already have 5, so we gotta pick up another 5 data points, and based on our consistency or what the results are, if they're varying, we're gonna probably have to sample multiple times a year. If they're consistently the same each year, or each time we sample, we'll probably not have to sample 3 times a year. It's $1,100 a year to sample for PFAS, so it'll be an increase in the budget by $3,300. So there's that came up.
We're gonna keep track of that so we can eventually charge that to
Yeah,
the,
that's how environmental, we're hoping, that's like a perfect thing that they would try to use as a reason for reimbursement.
How much wobble do we see so far in the numbers? With-
1,000 parts per trillion,
Yeah, but does it?
kind of right there all the time, it's not way
it
off.
was like 800 to.
Yeah, it's kind of, yeah, it's pretty stable.
Have we sampled the new pump yet in terms of?
That was what we just recently did, yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
How'd that come back? Was that
I
similar
don't know, we just did it.
for everything too? That'll be interesting to see.
We don't have the results, they just did them this week,
Years last week.
last Friday.
Yeah.
Have you seen the other leachate samples that were yanked a month ago or whatever?
I did, but those were more for the wastewater permitting piece, remember, they weren't what you wanted.
Okay,
Yeah, we can go over that
all
though,
right,
But that was from the new pump?
yes,
yeah.
and
And do we know what?
we do, yeah. I mean, I am not prepared to kind of go.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I wasn't asking that, I was just asking if you've seen. So,
Yeah, yes,
sorry,
yeah, I could show them to
shoot them
you.
over at some point.
Yep.
yeah.
Me too.
Okay. Usually people aren't interested in the analytical results of the leachate, but
Bill and I are
but we have
very
to
creative.
people
I want the QA/QC data.
We've been working on I've been working on the RFP for the loader, which is a capital improvement, that we had budgeted for this year, and I'm gonna put that out to bid. Working on the budget, and, the landfill had its aerial survey, and, we met with, CV Mahar, the engineer, Darren. We really want them to take a harder look at the actual closure costs, now that we have a landfill next to us with almost exactly the same situation, so we can get real numbers and starting numbers, maybe that have been just updated based on change in the increased cost of things, like they say, all right, the overall increase is 3%, they add 3% to it. They're gonna do more of a deep dive into looking at exactly what are the actual real costs. On the same note, I want them to look at the aerial survey a little bit more carefully, because we keep on hearing this number of 16 years and 15 years, but. I've been in the situation before, when you start getting to this point where you're narrowing in and you have a lot less space. The numbers start changing a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't wanna be caught off guard like I was in Rockland, where I told them. They're like, oh, you got 5 years left, and then like. I get a phone call and like, you got 1 year left, that was how it all happened, so, there's a lot that has to happen when you do that, you don't want that to happen, I was like, see, I told you so.
Yeah.
But, that's how it goes, so I learned that lesson over there.
Especially since they've been telling us pretty much the same number for so long.
Yeah.
And.
I know, and I'm
you
looking
get to
at
a
this, and
point
it doesn't
where-
look like that anymore.
They
Yeah.
increased it. It went from 5 to 7 for like 30 years. They said 5
Yeah.
to 7, and all of a sudden it was 15, which
Yeah.
was
Hmm.
but things look different now.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, just to your basic Joe coming in, so we've gotta push them on that.
Yeah, and make sure that they're, they're really looking at that carefully. Part of what's confusing with the whole thing is the closed landfill has a very thick cover on it, so that all comes off and that you gain all that space.
Yeah.
And that gets calculated in, but I really want them to really focus on that. And then, that's pretty much it. I don't wanna waste too much time. I mean, we had a household hazardous waste collection day. It's in the packet. You guys saw the data.
I actually wanted to ask a question about that because I was a nitwit and didn't put, I come to these meetings and I didn't put it on my calendar.
So now you got all your hazardous waste.
So I got some stuff that I was gonna bring in, not much, that I didn't, so I'm now sitting on it until May. But how do we get the word out?
I mean, we
Is
put it
there,
in the paper, we put it on the website, we talked about it at the select board meetings.
We had it on our website, I believe.
Yeah.
You know, it was pretty well, I thought, oh, I mean, the same thing happens to me every
It was
single
on
year.
the
Um,
TV,
But then I see all these other people show up.
when you,
No, it
when you drive in to the facility, that
On the
screen, the
They
digital
put up
monitor.
notices at the
oh,
facility.
Not like a kid.
we get Village Soup and I've never, we pay to subscribe to that thing.
Oh, that, it would have been in Penn Bay Pilot, I think.
Okay.
There's a village too.
Was it in Village?
Yeah, and I-
Print and online.
Yeah, the thing that we get that's printed is like, community events, it's 4 pages and it has nothing in it.
Oh,
And so it's just, I'm thinking that there are probably a lot of people out there like me that wanted to bring some stuff in and and I remembered it was in October and by the time I remembered it was almost Halloween, so I knew I'd missed it. But,
We could do a text alert.
Well, the thing
Yeah,
is, we
but-
can't even take that many more people. How do we do in? Because the other one was filling up so much that it's even if,
We could,
like, it happens in June, but it gets complete, there's like not room for a single additional person in. Is it June or May where the normal one is?
cause I know,
I'm not following.
We do too. We added a second, we
This
added a
was
second one
our
this year.
second.
We,
Yes.
we did one in October.
I'm gonna defer to Vinnie because he's.
We did one in May and we did one in October.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah,
so cause I know, for example, the Town of Hope has a thing where you can sign up for alerts from the town.
That's what I was talking. Yeah.
And maybe if
Yeah.
it would be possible a month in advance
Yeah.
of one of those to send out an email to all of the town
that
managers
was done.
saying, please put it on your alert system.
Oh,
Well, I
You
asked
know?
them to put it out, however, on their public boards, or if they wanna put it on the website or what, I mean, they can put it wherever they want.
You,
And they
yeah,
do have the,
we could do the text alert.
yeah.
Yeah.
so
Well,
they-
you gotta
so I
tell
can
them, like-
Ask them, I guess.
Yeah, all it.
I was thinking that in Camden too, that I wished I had told them. It's funny what they decide to send a text alert about versus
Yes.
not somebody, it's, in the system is more like. If somebody suggests, maybe we should send out a text alert, then they do, they don't have a thing like, well, these are the things we send out text messages about versus emails. But what was how much attendance was there?
I know the town of Lincolnville, we get
How many cars?
the emails.
Compared to the other ones, I mean, was it,
This numbers are here, so.
but was it,
Yeah.
it looked pretty similar to what we normally get, right?
Well, we got, you look at the two, we got
Twice.
322 units in the fall, in October. We got 158
Yeah.
units in the spring.
Almost double the number of vehicles.
Yeah.
But it was raining.
The spring was a hard
It's
day.
raining in the spring, and that could have curtailed some of the people coming in.
I think a lot of people were planning to do it in June, they knew about June, because we've done the third week in June for so long, that the May was harder
Yeah,
to get the information out, as we
Right.
came through between May and
there were almost as many
October.
people,
we were saying we're having another one, so
looking at
trying to
the
move to 2.
numbers, though. It looks to me like we got about 50% more stuff and vehicles roughly compared to 24 and 23.
Mhm.
So what's interesting, even though I felt the same way that you did about like, oh, I forgot and didn't find out, somehow all these other people are finding out. So it wasn't, I felt like it was poorly advertised a little bit, but then all these people came, so it definitely shows that there's a demand for it.
I mean, we can do whatever you guys want. If you have suggestions, just let us know and we'll advertise how you like.
Yeah, I think basically if, I'll talk to Sam and then see,
I'll
we'll
just
train
add that to
people
my
up and
letter
just,
in
yeah,
spring.
say, people might like it,
We could-
that doesn't help the people that don't
Yeah.
sign up for the text alerts, but at least
Right.
Add it, no,
it's one more way to get the word out.
Mhm.
So instead I've got,
You're not the only one. I forgot my stuff.
We have accommodated.
Bring ours and put it in your garage.
Was there wasn't like the line for,
No, it's fixed.
okay,
I really like those biplanes with pulling the banner behind it. Yeah, we could do that, we could have the, yeah.
we're gonna go door to door and.
something under the intersection.
Outline
On a
before
thing.
town and then crisscross back and forth, yeah.
Because before it was like, if we got any more people, it was gonna be a riot, because they were all the way to Grafham, so you gotta be really careful about advertising even more. But I'm
you
glad-
explain the way the cars go differently now, because that's what's
Yeah.
really making the change.
I don't know if there's a picture, but basically the recycling building that goes out and around, we're just utilizing more surface area, double lanes.
Yeah.
Alternating vehicles, and it's just way more
And
efficient.
doing it when we're closed.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one too. Yeah, that was a big issue.
Yeah, we're doing it on a Sunday versus when we're off, when everybody's actually using the facility on a Saturday. So you don't have the
Yeah.
people that are
Yeah.
trying to get rid of their trash,
That's-
upset
Yeah.
about all the congestion.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really good idea. Okay, thank you.
Okay, Dave, is there
No.
anything else? that
I think I
you
just,
good?
I want to also say that I want to introduce Vinny, if you don't know Vinny, Vinny's the facility foreman, and he's the guy that makes me look good all the time. We're gonna have Vinny go over our trash flow, which is what everybody in the world has been waiting for. Because the facility has been working to try to get a working credit card system and a point of sale service system for almost 10 years, and it's happened. We can say it's done, it's not completely done, but we're there, and Vinny, I'm not gonna steal any of Vinny's thunder, he's put a lot of work, both Beth and Vinny have undergone a lot of, struggling with this and having to change and adopt this whole new process, and it's a big deal, because it's scary, it's hard, it's a lot of work. I mean, I'm gonna let him explain it. It's just a lot of work that he's done.
With that being said, Vinny Kwiatkowski, our facility foreman, thank you for coming.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
We've talked about you a lot throughout a lot of our meetings, your name always comes up, but it's good to put a face to a name, and welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, so kind of just like Dave said, it was a big process. We researched and we landed on basically trash flow. So I mean, that's the one we went with. It had the most stuff that made sense with how we did things at the facility. So that's what we went with, and it's kind of just had some bullet points there at the top. I don't want to just like drone through it, but essentially the ease of transferring everything over to trash flow was awesome. Just as far as, keeping the field codes the same, that way the gatehouse attendants all already know the codes, I don't have to teach so many codes, and it's just, that was big. And customer accounts, we still have those, and those are actually really easy with the system. It makes the scale integration go very smoothly. I mean, it's days that come in, use it, boom, they come back off. We enter it in, it comes in automatically. So we're not hand writing all of these weights down, keeping track of them by hand, adding them up, it just minimizes error, and also, it's more efficient.
Tell them about how somebody comes in and they buy something or they charge something. What happens when they charge something? They actually get invoiced immediately.
Yes, so we signed up, or didn't sign up, but they put us on for email billing, and stuff like that, so that's huge. I think compared to how we were kind of doing things before. We also hand out a physical receipt as well, so that prints, and then they also get an email. So, you know, kind of moving up in the technology world there.
That's important because it's, the office is usually who pays the bills and the worker is usually the guy that gets the receipt and they don't always give it to the people of the office.
So is that a thing that that our customers are really receptive of the email billing? Or are there still a lot of customers that want, no, I want a paper copy, you know?
I mean,
Some people are kind of.
There's a few.
Yeah.
I mean, we narrowed it down to how many
Okay.
that was there? Not a lot of people, right?
No, we probably have about 10 people that don't have email.
Oh, really? Okay,
But
okay.
On the accounts.
on the account.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's pretty good.
And so those people still get a printed receipt every
Yeah.
time they come through. And we haven't done a monthly invoicing yet, but we're gonna change the statements to be formatted to just list all the invoices as well. So they shouldn't, technically, they're getting an invoice when we do that. And it puts it all in one place. So I think that's gonna be different, but I think people so far, I've had very little problems with people not understanding. We got to send out, which is really nice, a bulk email. So this system has the ability to do that. So when, you know, when we were going active on the 5th, we just let everyone know it was starting and to watch for changes and to feel free to ask questions. So I've had a few people call on different things, but everything's been really smooth so far.
Have we been through a billing cycle yet?
No,
Oh, no, we're coming up on it.
we will be doing the billing and we have a planned day so that they can help me the first time.
Yeah,
Which will be on the 1st of December to bill November. The only thing that's different is everything in our QuickBooks system that we had went into the trash flow as a bulk number. So right now, when I like at a big account, I have to go back in, find out what they bought. But it's going really pretty smoothly, you know, it's just, and once that kind of gets done, it'll just be 100% trash flow. So it's good. It's going well, and I think that a bulk email will be nice for closures, anything else we can do, so. But we are not taking emails and doing emails for the public, it's only for our own accounts.
Yeah. Okay. That's great. Are there any questions for Vinny on that subject?
Vinny, you mentioned the scale ties in, like,
Yeah, it's integrated now.
so like when a customer comes up with their vehicle, whatever,
Yep.
in the gatehouse, do they punch in the count
So
number,
they
something like that?
Well, not necessarily. I mean, if it's an account, they pull up the account and then they can enter it in that way. But if it's like a member of the public, they can pull on, you know, put a description in there. It'll pull the weight in. And then when they come back, they just pull that up and pull the weight back in. And then it just does all the math.
Okay, and then that individual customer would just pay right there at the gate.
Right. Yeah.
Before they would write the in weight down, then they would come back and write the out weight down, and then calculate the number, and then they were doing the math and all of that, none of that's, you know.
Is it gonna be that every single load now gets weighed? Because sometimes it would say,
Yeah,
$10.
right. We try to do it. I mean, if it's like, you know, a couple pieces of wood, sometimes like a little, you know, handful where we have the dollar minimum.
So you don't have to use the system, you can still do the. iPhone,
Yes,
get it, but-
yeah, you can still enter in, you know, the
Unit price.
unit price.
Okay.
Sounds like this is streamlining our operation over there in leaps and bounds.
Yeah, I mean, it's a learning curve, but
Yeah.
I had kind of allotted, you know, let's say a week or so to just kind of be up there. Pretty much, you know, a lot of their time during the day to help them. But I was able to kind of get out of there a lot sooner than I thought.
Great.
And like I said, that was one of the big things was we spent some time, you know, making sure that it was a good system that worked.
I love that the public response was jovial.
Yeah,
That was a delight to see that. Thank you.
Yeah,
It's all right.
it was a big undertaking and it was well done, so.
Yeah.
We got a lot of good kudos for what they've done. That was not easy and it was, and you've got everything else going on at the same time. It's not like you get a break, you just work on that.
With credit card stuff happening now,
Oh, yeah, but
or
it's lightning
individual
fast.
people?
It's great.
It is,
Yeah, I like it.
I've experienced it, it's good, really good.
But easy and painless.
They can pay online as well, like on accounts can pay online now too. There's a whole thing where they get the email and a Q code and they go on the website and they set up however they want to do it.
Like if somebody's just going to buy 3 packs of the trash bags, yellow bags,
That would just be a cash sale.
yeah.
Yeah, but if
But
you're
if they
gonna put
wanna
it on
use
their
a credit
account,
card,
yes, they can use a credit card.
how does that physically happen? Does, say I don't have an account or anything, but I want to put several packages of yellow bags. Well, $15 a bag.
Yeah,
Bag. So I got $45. Can I use my credit card?
absolutely, yeah.
And then what happens? Do I hand it to the guy?
It's quick, I
Yeah,
can,
And then, and
it's-
then they go
yeah.
inside and run it and
It's just a.
Right back up.
swipe and then, yeah, that's it.
So
It takes
one of the things we're working on is trying to get that swipe unit closer to the person.
Yeah,
We are working on that, but we haven't got the,
So they'll take your credit card inside, bring it back.
right,
essentially, yeah.
right now.
Is there any way to add one of those little handhelds?
That's what we're working on, but we gotta get one that's compatible with the system.
System, yeah.
nice.
Well,
I mean, I've been even
They're
handing
saying
my credit
it's-
card at McDonald's and, right, she takes it into the window and so it's still
Yeah.
fairly standard.
Technology changes.
Yeah, it's like, it's quick.
It's better than the other credit
Mhm.
system.
And it
I
works.
think it's fine to hand them your credit card.
It's very fast.
Yeah.
that's cool.
It's
And
awesome.
you can see through the door and all the windows. It's not like they're going anywhere with it.
Right,
Yeah, no, it's right
but
there.
people,
Like in a
get a
restaurant.
little weird when you take their card, you know?
That's happened to every restaurant. That's normal. Don't let them make you think that's not normal.
No, but it doesn't change the fact that some people do get a little weird sometimes when you
Yeah.
take their card, they don't like it.
No, maybe a little
tray.
With a mint on it.
With a mint.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Johnny, this-
Remind them that they've done this before.
That's the little.
Right, trigger to,
Yeah,
yeah.
Texas.
With a mint.
You know, you're right.
Yeah, with a mint.
It's there, now that's a restaurant.
Since we've been
restaurant's
doing
much
credit
riskier.
cards, we have not had, I don't wanna hex us or, but we haven't had a lot of trouble. We haven't had cards lost or people looking for them, or we haven't had technically one complaint, so, yeah, I think it's a smooth operation. They're pretty responsible with the people's cards.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's-
Are there any other questions on the process and anything of that nature for Vinnie? Vinnie, thank you for coming in. I do have one question for you, and I don't want to put you on the spot, but I think you can probably, the short version. What does the day in the life of Vinnie Kwiatkowski entail at Midcoast Solid Waste?
Yeah,
And I know you can get the point across, I know you can. Without too much, the short version, what does Vinnie's day look like?
I mean, it's busy a lot of the time, but generally speaking, I guess I just maintain the flow of the facility, I guess is how I put it, if there's a problem, I'm the go-to. I hear my name on the radio a lot.
Okay.
So,
He gives everybody direction.
yeah, delegate things and make sure that things are kind of getting done on a day-to-day that, need to be done in order for the facility to keep going on.
Perfect.
Essentially.
I just want to say that we hear his name a lot, and he has given a very short version of what he does over there. And if anybody were to just go over and watch what's going on in the flow, Vinnie is part of the flow everywhere. So I just want to make sure everybody knows that, and if you get a chance to stop by, just kind of look around.
Just look for the guy in the morning.
Yeah, look for the guy in the orange, and Vinnie, I appreciate it, I didn't mean to put you on the spot here or anything. But I felt it was paramount that you come in and everybody meet you, because we hear your name a lot. So thank you very much. Appreciate it. And we would like to have you back from time to time for an update or whatever's going on there. I would appreciate it, and I think everybody else would too.
Maybe another tour also.
Yeah, good choice.
Okay, if there's nothing else, for Vinnie and anything on that subject, thank you, by the way. Item number 5, presentation and discussion of Rock Road Trail System. I thought it was important that this come on the schedule because I feel we're gonna have this on an agenda, as an agenda item, in the near future. Dave?
So just want to clear the air here. Ern called me, wanted me to put this on the agenda. Separately, I got the notice of the NERPA permit. And I just put that in the permit, put that in the manager's report, just so people knew.
As
that
an
was in it.
FYI,
It's not connected.
yeah.
No,
No, I mean, they're connected, but they're not connected for this meeting. That wasn't the purpose of it.
Yeah.
It was just for your information. The NERPA permit's in there. We got notified. I wanted the board to see it. It wasn't because of the discussion. I just want to try.
I just think it's important that everybody know what is there. And there's a trail system out there, so, and it does cross. So with that being said, we've got somebody here.
want to just do that? So good.
Yeah, you can, you want to say?
yeah, let me, Jeff sent me his presentation.
That's fine.
It
Whatever you wanna do.
was actually the craziest.
Joe,
timing.
are you kidding? Great fun.
When the snow
And
might
if you-
clears in spring, it'd be nice to do a tour of where the trails are.
Yep, and if you would just introduce yourself so that everybody knows who you are and what you're all about. And,
I'll do that.
Hold on, just let me get.
I'll buy time, Allison, okay?
Okay. All right.
So, I'm the chair of the Pathways Committee. I live in Camden. The Pathways Committee is two-town, so it's Rockport and Camden. So this discussion of the trail system is really appropriate. It's really wonderful. We have a committee that goes across both towns because it crosses both town lines, so it's good. The Pathways Committee is like most any town committee, except it's two towns. We have 10 members, 5 from each town. We started in 2000. And one of the inaugural projects was the Union Street path. To sort of oversee that, it goes right in front of the. And gets used there. Yeah. And our charter is to manage projects, enhance bike and ped, transportation, develop, maintain a master plan, and work cooperatively with folks like you.
No,
Oh, that's
no,
so close.
That's not,
That's it.
no. No, we don't want it in presenter mode though. I want it in,
Slideshow.
yeah,
I don't know where that is.
there we
it
go,
is.
it's just because it's,
Play from start. There you go. There you go.
That's the same.
And it's Jeff with the G,
I don't want this,
Jeffrey Scott. DEOFF. Yes, yeah.
no. It's because I touched this down here and I shouldn't have.
I haven't even tested this. You can go to the next one. Skip over this one.
Oh, it's only me that's seeing.
Yeah, you don't need to see.
Yeah.
It's only you. That's the presenter one.
I thought I was mirroring my screen, but apparently not.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
Okay.
I actually haven't tested this, so keep going.
No,
Toggle down.
it seems to be fine now.
Yeah, toggle down. There you go. So we've got our strategies for this discussion. We have other ones too. But our strategies are creating connections, okay, destinations, that's what we're about. And we focus on health and walkability, and we set priorities based on pedestrian traffic. So today, the topic is, oh, you're too fast.
Sorry.
Is, we'd like to, a home run would be formalizing public access to a trail that runs behind solid waste. It's been used for decades by peds and cyclists. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna walk you through a little bit about where that is. You can see the little green dot there. So this up here on the top. I can't see. Isn't that weird? They don't work on TV. So right up here.
You want to point, Jeff?
They can see the little red dot.
Right here.
Yeah, that exits out to Greenfields and Linden Lane. And then you can see halfway down on the left, there's the solid waste facility. And sort of down in the bottom, the brown you can do with the pointer too. That's the top of the pile that, right there. And
That's the landfill.
that's
We
the
call that the
landfill. The
landfill.
pile, I call it where the bulldozer runs, you know, that's, yeah, I go.
You
up
gotta
there.
know your audience here, Jeff. This is-
Sorry,
yeah,
but I,
this is serious.
yeah, sorry. Yeah. Wait, go back, could you just for a second? So then it exits out, there's the Y at the bottom, and the next slide, what I'm gonna show you is how it sits in the context of the whole thing. So now at the top, at the very top, you can see the green dot goes up to Linden Lane. And that goes across a retention pond dam. It's like a dam there that goes across and you walk on top of that. It's really dry. You follow it all the way around and there's even like a berm that goes all the way until you get to the grass at solid waste. And that grass is mowed, I think, to access the test wells or something, because I see tracks
It's
back
part of the
there
landfill
every once in a while.
management.
Like, I don't know if it's a gator or what it is.
It
Something goes,
follows a stormwater conveyance system at the toe of the slope.
it's right at the toe of the slope and it's super nice to walk on. And then as it gets closer to the Y, it sort of goes into the forest, in and out of the forest a little bit. And then at the Y, it dips in, there's a
missing a
test
little-
well there. And there's a track that goes through there, and then a little further down, right about where no, a little bit further, past the kids, where the kids outdoor thing is.
No, I mean,
No, I mean, there's a trail
the
there.
formal trail easement is over here, but there's the mode path to the back of the Y is over here.
That's right, that's the trail that exists
That's what
now,
people are
that's the
walking now.
informal trail. The trail continues down, it's just kept up by walkers, I guess, and right about just before there, the field that would be abutting the Midco Solid Waste, there's an easement. And someday we're gonna build a connector that goes up there, that goes to the Y. But that's been platted on the, survey and in their deed.
Where?
Right, Allison can move her little thing there, right there,
So that, I mean, that's where
that's where the easement is.
yeah.
It's,
Take you all to
it's
the union or the parking lot?
no, it takes you to the parking lot, because then there's that other property,
Right.
where the dog swimming thing is. Yeah. Yeah, it just takes you to the parking lot, and it goes around where the kids play, because there's a fence there and all that stuff. Yeah, and then it continues all the way down, crossing down, and it eventually gets down to Lime Rock, and almost all that section is on Old Ray's Road.
It's an old it looks like a railroad track bed with no railroad track on it.
Right.
It's like. Complex.
It's a road,
It's a road, it's a big
well-drained
elevated
road. Yeah.
rock road.
And it kind of peters out right on the boundary between Midco Solid Waste and the Y. Yeah, because that soil's been disturbed when they, I think, did all the wells and stuff.
I think it was like used for like the line.
It was lined going down.
Well, so there
And-
used to, if you really want to get into it, there were roads that went this way and that way, and depending on what part of the quarry they were working in and
Yeah.
whether it went to Camden or Rockport over different times, they utilized different rail beds, and then some places then the quarry expanded into the rail bed, but.
Yeah,
But-
and I just want to stick in a little. That a girl, if you want to find out that history, Allison just wrote a great article, it's in the Penn Bay Pilot, and it's just a great story, talks about the history and usage and has some really nice pictures in there. Great information there. And expands on this is just a very brief thing.
Oh, you want me to go to this?
Yeah, that it was, I think we mentioned all these things.
Can we go back up one there?
We'll come back down to it if you want.
Okay, picture
Yeah,
again.
head back down, do another
Oh,
one.
you want?
Is this it?
Yeah, what I was curious was, it's obvious where Midco Solid Waste owns you know, at the edge of the landfill. What about that area that sort of pops out to the northeast and then it takes a 90-degree turn to the left and then circles up to the street?
Up there.
Yeah.
In the
so-
northeast, up by Lime Rock?
Above, yeah, above the word waste on solid waste, yeah, from there, that trail, right, where the trail.
Okay, so that trail goes right along land that used to be owned by the homeowners association of the Greenfield Estates development.
Well, all of, it depends which thing you're talking, it would have been, you're missing the property lines. All of this, Midco Solid Waste owns one parcel that's in Camden. So I don't know if you can see where that's going, but Midco Solid Waste owns all of this. It's kind of wetlandy. Here, basically.
I don't think I'm asking that question, right?
Okay.
You just-
Yeah. Get up
We
there.
own all of this.
Right, Bill.
Bill, don't you mean?
Go ahead.
I'm asking specifically, it's obvious, you know,
Yeah.
we're part of this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So who owns this?
that's what I was just saying. And Allison,
A
before
little
Allison
bit
started
of
talking.
it is,
Some of it's Midco.
there's a,
Some of it's Midco solid waste.
yeah, and then the Greenfield subdivision,
It's somebody.
which was,
That's the homeowners association, which doesn't exist anymore. It's kind of in a no man's land right now.
Okay.
but no, voters,
But
This-
we don't need to solve all that stuff, but I was just
Yeah.
curious how much of this trail is within our control and where that starts and stops.
I think it stops right where Allison's.
right about there.
Right about there.
Yeah,
Okay.
but I can go on to Access and take a look at it.
No, it doesn't-
Sorry, I didn't.
If you want to get into it, Midco Solid Waste has an old easement there too,
But
but
basically here down to, yeah.
Yeah, right there. That's exactly where it is.
Thank you.
Yeah. And just if you're interested, that little triangle right where Allison was drawing right there, it's all wet. It's really wet in there. Where it's sort of pink up there above the word waste. Yeah, right in there.
yeah,
It's-
so
There's a lake in there.
it's a wetland.
It's a
It's
wetland.
strange.
Yeah, it's a wetland.
That's
But the
beautiful.
beauty is that there's a berm that runs right there. The trail goes right along.
Right, part of it is another section of they didn't call that part the Rock Road, but
It's
It's-
another road, I think.
yeah, because there are all these quarries, and so they built all these roads to get, sometimes the quarry stuff went to Camden. So if you read the old deeds, they built that stormwater retention plan, that stormwater retention pond using part of the old road as,
That explains there's a monster cable out there that I've always wondered about. It's this big.
it's all the stuff from it's all that, they had these derricks, or they're called derricks, that with cables that went all the way across the landfill, everywhere. It wasn't landfill, it was the quarry.
To move the quarry, the stones.
The stone.
Yeah, and so I mean, part of the vision for this would eventually be that people are walking through the back of the landfill, and you're learning about the history of quarrying and the history of some of our solid waste problems, and then how we fix them, and it could point out, oh, this is an old cable from the, rail cars, and
Just like we walked the other day, the green dots from the south end to the north end is the discernible path.
Correct.
In other words, you don't go there and go, man, I thought there was a trail here, this big wall of woods. It's a trail.
I will say that, on the other hand, no, there's no wall, but behind the solid waste, it's like, where do I go now? And we'll commit, the Pathways Committee will commit, if you want, to some subtle signage to say, go here, this is where the trail goes.
don't go here.
Don't go here, yeah, and I think that would be prudent.
That would be a good idea.
Or why are you?
Otherwise, people will start turning the wrong way.
Allison, you need to take all of this stuff that you have learned and written about and posted about on Facebook and put it into a book.
Or maybe some signage out behind the landfill.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at the signs right there.
Hidden in plain sight.
Gonna be a giant book.
A woman just wrote me actually who had done, she graduated from main media, and she said she did her like main media dissertation or project on the things that remain or something, and she had pictures of the quarry and the old dock that had been abandoned, and she had a website, and she was fascinated by the history there. And people like it. It's, years ago when they were looking at this, there was so much kind of to be embarrassed about at the facility that there was hesitancy to have people, they were still an open quarry a little bit and you're throwing trash and there were fires and now I feel like
Things happen.
20 years later, people walk back there and you wouldn't know that it's a landfill in a lot of cases. We have a lot to be proud of. Lily
really
Pond
good.
is all cleaned up now,
Really done well.
so.
Back to our.
Going back,
I-
toggle down,
Oh.
the other way, I think.
Which way?
Did you have a question?
I've been wondering all along, like, how many people do you estimate use the path that goes over Midco solid waste land?
Not as many because they're afraid. I think they're afraid to cross it.
Well,
Yeah. I think they are because they're like, well, where am I? Is this okay? Because what happens is it just
Yeah.
opens up.
Yeah,
It's
for
like-
walking.
Yeah, and if you have a little sign there that encourage them, they keep going. There are a lot of people that use between Lime Rock and the Lime Rock in Rockport.
this part, yeah.
Yeah, the south end.
To,
This part used to be better used and then it got over.
Yeah, got a
so
little
you say the
overbuilt.
lower part from Lime Rock and Rockport up to where?
Right to the border of Midco Solid Waste, right to the
To the
Y.
Y?
Yeah, the Y it sort of
Exactly.
peters out. And there's a little wetland thing there. There's a little
I know
there's a
there's
little
one.
creek
We should-
there.
There's
We
the-
need a
yeah, there's
little-
road.
Can you toggle down? A slide?
It's not so much down as across for me, so do you want me to
Okay,
go
across?
forward or back?
I wanna go forward.
Okay,
This
good,
is perfect.
okay.
And so next, so right there where it drops off on the bottom is where people usually stop because it opens up and there's the big grass on the mountain there and they're going like, okay, I'm not sure where I am anymore.
Mhm.
And there aren't any signs or anything, but there is a little road that gets mowed better than anything else. I think it's mowed better.
Some people there is also a lot of land that Midco Solid Waste actually owns 2 lots in the Lily Pond subdivision as well. And then there's this buffer land back here with old quarries and it's very nice because it's not been cut in a long time. I talk to people sometimes and they're like, oh, I go back there all the time. And then a lot of people say, I had no idea it was there. So
Yeah.
I don't know how many people,
And
but some.
they're saying they go, when they use that land, they go there all the time. Some people onto the,
Definitely people in the Lily Pond subdivision know about it, but,
cause I'm just trying to get a grasp, like how
You've
many
been-
people are
you've been
using
back
that
there?
Midco solid waste land, you know?
yeah, this is where we were walking the other day. I was talking about,
Yeah, Jeff
Oh.
put me on the upper part,
Yeah.
this section last week.
but did you walk on the Midco Solid Waste wooded land or just on the path?
Mostly
No.
just the path.
I've done it all, I've covered.
Greg knows all of it, but.
Yeah.
I harvested, shaggy mane mushrooms back then, they get.
I just saw some of those.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, this year and I identified them.
Yep.
Are they good?
Yeah,
Okay.
the woods.
Well, no, there's such a thing as like, you can eat it, but I wouldn't.
Go with eggs.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is based, I just want to throw this up here for future discussion, or if you want to talk about it, there are basically 2 ways of getting, sort of solidifying public access. You can do it with an easement in your deed, by adding it to the deed, or you can execute a trail use permit, which says, we're gonna let people walk here. Basically, so those are the options. And I can fill you in more if you're interested.
This is the stuff that's on Midco Solid Waste.
Just on Midco Solid Waste, yeah, because that's what you have authority to do, but with that, then I don't, the Pathways Committee doesn't want to put any signs back there because like, yeah, we don't want to encourage people to, without this formalized wording, it just seems inappropriate.
Well,
Right, thank you for asking.
It definitely is. It'll involve a deeper conversation
Yeah,
with more people. But, a lot of people don't know about that threat.
yeah, a lot of people don't know, you're right.
They don't know that it's been there a while. but a lot of people don't even know it's there, so. This is great information. I can see this becoming a topic, in the near future. My concern is right now is, just pushing it so people can walk all over the property. And I wanna say that it isn't right. We gotta know what we're talking about, you know, it's not although we've got 4 towns coming to dispose of trash. You can't just, I don't feel that we can say, yeah, there's a path out there, let's do it. You guys can, without asking the right people.
Who would the right people be?
Legally.
Who that is.
Legally.
What people are you wanting to ask? Each of the
I
towns?
wanna ask if we can put up signs and advertise the trail.
Ask whom?
He was a municipal attorney, so he was.
This board,
No, we don't have to, this has been something, if you look really into it, the Camden, Rockport, the towns have voted on doing this in the
Understood.
past,
I
so
know-
it's, we
I know
actually have
that.
full authority, to do this, there's,
Okay, so for me,
yeah,
I personally haven't seen that document and I would
Yeah.
like to read it and be better informed before we have that conversation about this.
what document?
would
You
you
just said there was a document.
or?
And this really isn't the place to get into that, but what I'm saying is that's why I feel should be on another agenda. So that we could have a more in-depth conversation about this, bring forward whatever information there is. For that. I mean, maybe I'm wrong.
What I'm looking for is
I understand. So you don't have any doubt that the Midco Solid Waste has title to this property that we're talking about, right?
I've been told that, but I haven't seen it.
So you wanna see the deed?
I would like to see it. Wouldn't
The- the
you? if you
boundaries
didn't
of our
know?
property?
Well, I know.
Pull up the
that-
GIS right now,
No, that's.
Right, I mean, I haven't,
it's not irrelevant.
what's more complicated, is that the deeds are almost unreadable in some, I mean, they're just really, they're just terrible to look at. And there's a deed, back in 2001, I think it is, from Rohrbosch.
Yes,
And he gives the entire road to the citizens of Camden and Rockport, to the municipality.
Oh, wow.
And,
Yeah.
and I haven't seen
All the
that
way.
that's been dismissed anywhere. I
yeah,
mean, so the title to this, there are all kinds of, that Rock Road is mentioned in way too many deeds, and no one's ever not permitted its use.
mhm,
So the irony is that the reverse is true. The irony is that I don't think you could prevent anyone from walking on that trail. So you don't have to worry about giving permission, I think you can stop them. But certainly, Midco Solid Waste owns the property and you can allow people to use it.
Oh, there may also be something that, you know, Bill Kelly can simply point us to in terms of standards. Because I know that when we sold a house, we were on a hill, and so before we sold it, we had a view easement added to the deed so that our neighbors uphill wouldn't end up with some jerk buying the house and putting 40-foot trees up and blocking their view. And so, I'm sure Bill could draft something up. I'm sure he will not have to invent the wheel for this. To create an easement for public access.
And this is what Jeff was saying,
Yeah,
it's
I
way to
think-
do,
I
either
think
public
it's
easement
brilliant.
or trail permit.
You know, I mean, in England, public access over private lands is the rule.
Right.
Countrywide, it's not here, so it'd be nice to get an easement like that to codify it and then keep it safe.
That's to make it durable beyond I mean, that's
Yeah.
my goal too, because this
Yeah.
board can decide whatever it wants, but I would like to in the future protect it from some other board that might,
Change it.
but, right,
Yeah.
so that's the way to make it lasting. Oh, no.
I know what that means.
Yeah, I think that, I think it's a great idea, I really do. I mean, I think,
Yeah.
if you really want to create a permanent easement, so it is titled to, on the deed, so nobody gets to change their mind in the future on the stuff we can control, that's great. The only two questions I would have are, how do we control safety in terms of people walking?
That's my, yeah,
Yeah, onto the landfill and making sure they don't just wander off and, get, picked up in a bucket by accident, right? We don't need that. And then the second issue, maybe for some people. But the second concern I have, aside from the safety aspect, is when we do close the landfill. We're gonna have to have a certain geometric shape to the cover based on the angles and all this kind of stuff, slopes and such. That we don't need to then, we need to know whether or not we're pushing it over the trail.
yeah, will it
Simply
affect it?
because of the geometry that we have to do under closure.
There's these blocks that are along the bottom, and those define the quarry wall.
That's what those are.
Yeah, and that's the boundary. And the landfill can't go beyond that.
Right, and then, so my question is, of course, you bring the landfill down to the base of the blocks, right? And then you gotta put a cover on top of that, so it's gonna extend a little further. Not a lot.
I know, but we're not in talking, because I asked about this, because I had the issue on the other side, if you remember where the brush pile was. And they want us to stay on the inside of those blocks with the final product.
Oh, with the final cover.
Yeah,
Okay.
So we can't take a roof out over it,
no,
it has to go to,
Do that though.
yeah.
Yeah, well, but that's my only other point, is that, safety and then final cover.
and on the safety thing, I've talked with Bill about this, because we had this come up with a bunch of other situations, and you basically,
Bill who?
Bill Kelly,
Oh, okay.
Bill Kelly, and you have to identify the hazards if there are any. That's the way of absolving the facility of any liability if there's hazards per se. Notifying them of a hazard and then of the rules, stay on the trail or those kind of things. But I don't think that was what I got from Bill about it, not.
Yeah.
So in Maine, Maine law very much protects the landowner.
Mhm.
And it talks about you can't sue the landowner if you break your leg or trip or fall or
Right.
anything like that, unless the landowner deliberately creates a hazard for you.
Mhm.
So that's consistent. So I run into this a lot with landowners because we do trails and things like that. And so there's a lot of reluctance to say, well, what happens if somebody hurts themselves? And Maine law, there's never, no one has ever successfully sued a landowner for neglect. And that's because of all the hunting that goes on and fishing, and people want to have access to the land and not worry about. They don't want to say fishermen can't come or people can't walk on their property, because there's a lot of open property. Yeah, and so that's where that
There are
law.
hunting guides out there.
Could we,
Oh, yeah.
as a step, allow or instruct Dave and Jeff to review some signage with Bill Kelly, with the attorney, that would get the attorney stamp of approval?
I don't have a problem with that. I don't see an issue with it. I mean, it's not really bothering me.
With a nod of the head, would that be? To move that forward to see what we can come up with?
I would like,
Is everybody good with that?
Yeah.
Signage and making sure that the trail is clearly.
Good, Mark.
boy,
Yeah,
I would really urge everybody, it's a lovely walk. It's really worth going out there and doing, and I would love to see more surveyor's tape on it.
Oh,
Just,
that would be good.
just on the limbs of the trees and things.
Or some kind of marking.
Almost like the trails, like a blue mark on the
Yeah,
tree.
exactly,
Yeah.
any of that kind of thing.
Something.
Would,
So it's easily.
the only challenge is
Right.
coming off of that green grassy
It's
area,
green.
that one entrance into that
Sharp right.
place, that sharp right, that's the only thing.
That's where there'd be a sign.
You could have a sign or even a piece of surveyor's tape hanging there,
Yeah,
would
yeah.
be some to say,
For the
oh,
savvy people.
right. Just from my perspective, I'd like to see it permanent, because Yeah. the landfill forever.
Right.
So there is no reason to not put it in the deed as a permanent easement, it doesn't need, if
It doesn't seem to be that complicated.
So is that a conversation you can have with Bill?
Or maybe Greg, we could appoint Greg to,
I would like Greg to kind of help me with that piece.
Sure.
Because you seem to have a lot of the information already, and then I can either transfer it over to Bill, or you can come with me with.
Are you
talking to Bill
good
about
with
it.
doing that?
Yeah.
Perfect.
The
Okay,
other thing
and-
too is I'll double check on what Bill said about the toe of the slope with the cover.
Yep.
I'll just make sure, I'll get that in writing in an email.
I mean, and the trail could be easily in the
And
future moved. into-
Let's say she's.
We're all in
over
agreement
5
with
feet,
doing
we can
that.
say
I don't,
be over
really
5
don't think we need to vote for this, it's just a nod of the head, I think we're good.
And just because I'm super intimate with this trail, you wanna walk. You're naturally inclined to walk right next to the trees, that's where you wanna walk,
And
you don't wanna,
that's
you're
right,
not gonna wanna walk next to the hill.
right.
But it would be good to have a couple
You
signs that
sure?
just say,
Oh, yeah, I'm pretty sure about
I mean,
that.
I tend to wanna go on the hill
Okay.
some, but,
Oh,
you know.
jeez. Like, I wanna go see what's up there.
Oh,
It's a beautiful view up there,
Yeah.
but that's.
incredible. I want that to be a public park
Well, that'll be
when
later.
it's closed
That'll
up.
be
I want that
later.
whole area to become public park and picnics and recreation and.
That's what Roger Moody said, and, you know, they sounded crazy back 25 years ago, but Roger Moody, the Camden Town manager, said, you know, Camden and Rockport, you guys have gotta have some vision, this is gonna be like your Central Park, because
Yeah.
we've got 25 acres of recreational
It's
space
spectacular.
right in the middle there, and,
Yeah, if you were,
sledding and.
if you took the dump parts out of it, you were
Okay.
standing there, you would think you're in like a really nice, like Arcadia or.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's
Or Garden or that kind of, it's that.
the pile where the bulldozer still plays, we got to go up there and the view from up there is spectacular.
I haven't ever gone up on any of them.
I took a
Yeah.
picture of the Northern Lights the other
Come
day.
over and take a look, don't stay long, but.
We can take you up to the other one.
Oh, is that just from
It was from, I took a picture of the
People
Northern,
getting married
Yeah.
up there.
it was one of my most popular photos. People are like, where was that? People are writing me emails, where was that, Allison?
Yeah,
It's a, I was like, I got
Well,
permission, I was very
That's
careful.
good, that's good, so
Could we
so
just
we're
take a
all
vote?
good, he's gonna, and you, we're gonna do a little. See what we gotta come up with.
Do a description and we'll all say yes.
Could I move,
Sounds
I would
good.
love to see just a formal vote of what we just said, so it'll be easy for the
I got a
minutes.
simple nod of everybody's head,
You did.
except for you, yeah, I hate to say it, I think you were talking.
I will just hate to be here in 20 years. I know, I'm very excited. Thank you for entertaining me. But could we have a vote?
I
Make a
will,
motion.
okay, I will accept a motion from you.
How did we leave it, Greg? Maybe,
Greg's gonna, it is.
I think the motion is to authorize the placement of signage on the Nitco solid waste property.
subject to the review of the,
the attorney and all that, right?
No, we
Subject to
didn't, it was, we were
review.
subject to review of signage.
Just gonna review the signage.
Yeah, just for,
Yeah.
review the signage, but
right,
I don't think it's a question of us having the authority to put up.
no,
signage.
No, it's just what,
It's just what the signage should look like.
Right, to make sure that-
Make sure, I'll speak with Bill and we'll get him to say, yeah, this is.
right.
so
So you made the
Can you-
motion and I
can you-
seconded.
can you repeat that so that Beth has got something? So it's not all.
Yeah,
over
yeah, I
the place.
agree. I thought Greg said it beautifully. Do you want a motion and then I'll second?
But what did you capture there?
Just have authorized placement of signage on the Midco solid waste property, subject to review of signage by the board.
No,
Bill
attorney,
Kelly will be consulted, that's what I wrote.
Proper signage,
I don't think the board is gonna review the signage.
no,
Yeah, the board doesn't need it. If
so then-
Bill says it's okay,
okay,
board's gonna decide.
Okay.
By who? Or just.
I think, I mean, it's really to the satisfaction of the manager, I think, but the manager,
Consultation with the attorney.
the manager understands from the conversation that,
Do we put any, sorry to drag us out, I know we got other stuff to do, do we put anything in here about pursuing the permanent memorialization of this, in this vote now? In terms of putting in these.
we could start the conversation with the, and
Authorize.
also authorize the facility manager to start the conversation with the with our
With
attorney
you to a permanent
about
easement.
formalizing that.
Yeah, that's all.
Okay, and I'll.
Okay,
Perfect.
so we've got a motion. We have a second?
Second.
Okay. Motion and seconded. Any more discussion? All those in favor? There we go.
You don't know how happy that guy is.
Oh, my God.
We'll get back to you.
I'm gonna
You may
cry.
not.
You've been working on this for how long?
Don't,
25 years.
So that's one stretch of the
Oh,
land.
you
I'll
came
get
to
out there
this,
with a,
this time you came
well,
right
we're
with
gonna
you.
do some trail work out there, that'll be fun.
I told him it's
That's
safe,
awesome.
we've got a really great board now, I think it's safe
Thank
to
you
come
guys.
back.
Thank you very much
I
for,
didn't even need to see it.
There's a granite causeway out there that brings that,
Yeah.
where that big thing is.
Yeah,
It's just
that's right.
charming,
It-
and you wonder how in the world that got there, but it's part of
It's
the
part of the
roadway.
old, one of the road accesses.
And there's like a granite bridge.
Yeah,
There's so much cool stuff.
it would be to everybody's advantage to take a walk out there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I've done it a couple of times, it's been a while, but it's like, wow.
Where is the access point on the southern end?
The easement is off of Linden.
Yeah.
Okay,
Mhm.
just go up there, skirt around the back of the dump, around the Y, and then.
I'd love to go
Oh,
with
it's
you if
obvious
you
to
wanna,
keep going.
Okay,
buddy
as
for
long,
walking.
as long as there's
Try
no
to-
more questions on that, and are you all set?
I'm all set. I'm gonna,
I don't wanna seem like I'm kicking you out.
no, you're not. I'm pairing with, I'm gonna be in touch with Greg and.
Yep, yep, perfect, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thanks for your patience.
Next item on our agenda, presentation and update from second story builders on reuse diversion study. Where is that guy? There he is, right there. Hey, how you doing?
Quiet, sitting in the corner.
Can I put some slides up? Am I?
Well-
No, boy.
You'll never, the town of Camden has really locked things down, and right in the middle of this, it said, you are not permitted to share your screen, it's all the backlash of this porn episode, so, yeah, we had
Oh, you didn't see that?
it was bad.
Yeah, we don't, yeah, don't really want to talk about it, that's not good.
Also, they think the solution is to take everybody's privileges away, but
Just imagine the worst thing you've ever seen.
that
Worse.
screen,
And it works.
it was
Yeah,
the worst
yeah.
thing
During a meeting.
during a
The picture of
meeting.
Susan, she's going.
That's.
Wasn't good.
It's called Zoom bombing, apparently, and,
You would not believe it.
It's a long
But-
tradition.
so in order to make it so you can, see the,
I was on the phone, I was like,
Can we do it without sharing?
it was-
We need to?
What meeting was this? Is it recorded for public?
Oh, for goodness.
You don't want to see it.
no, we edited it out, but I.
No, it was,
I did say
it was scary.
No, it was disgusting.
Yeah, it was,
It was like,
it was bad.
it was.
Right, we're gonna just,
I could like,
the thing is
Just
that it
turn my
it is
computer
really
in.
nice for this to be on the recording. Could you join the Zoom meeting? You're probably not sure how to share your screen either, though.
how do I do that?
We're gonna,
You could have gone directly.
yeah, that does it, but it doesn't do it for the,
Recording.
yeah, so, let's see, is it gonna let me again now?
Can you dedicate a
Oh,
camera onto
Can you
the
just, can
computer?
you just send that to me?
Just share it with you?
Yeah.
Yep.
Cause it looks like maybe after the waiting period, it's gonna let me share my screen again.
Email address.
Allison McKellar at Gmail.
Just thinking about that night. That was unreal.
Okay, just there you go.
This one for right email account here. Change it to my own email account. Share, open. Request access.
On the
Hey,
minute.
I'm pretty.
Yeah.
What is
It was.
I'm sorry, the last,
I've never seen it.
what is this red scheduled meeting?
You should have
October
those.
22nd.
You're opening up your different.
I'm sorry?
Yeah.
It was like, it was.
I don't understand.
So we had,
Yeah.
had a schedule,
Pack the.
That's from the minutes and it got changed.
but then it got
The actual
changed to
meeting
the
got-
day.
October 26th, 2020.
It was big as life right here. And most couldn't shut it off.
Oh, okay, that's what it is, it's 2020, okay, good,
Keep your parents first.
thank you, okay. It was the 26th that I put it.
Thank
I was on the phone, I was going.
Okay, here we go.
Hold on.
More. This is more tonight. With this, please. So we want to finish.
Couldn't.
I got something here and there.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Right.
Okay. After,
Yes, you can have.
Okay.
All right.
all right, sorry for the delay, everyone. All right, so at Dave's request, I'm here to give you guys an update on what's been going on with the waste audit and reuse program that you so generously offered Second Story Builders to work on. So I don't know how much of this has been.
This is just an update.
Just an update,
Not the final thing.
not the final thing. Oh. Yeah. There we go. Okay.
We can minimize our pretty faces.
Yeah. See if I can further minimize.
Oh, that's okay.
It's a little low definition,
That's
that's all right. So Second Story ran a summer internship. This is the first summer that Second Story has existed. We had 16 paid interns that worked with us doing deconstruction work and also a little bit of design build work as well with some of the materials that we reclaimed. The big project that we did was the Chestnut Street house, which I think a lot of you saw as it was coming down. And so as part of their experience, in addition to painstakingly taking this house down and salvaging as much material as we could, I built in, and here's some of the material at our store from that one house, incredible amount of material. I also built in them participating in this waste audit so they could see, as part of this experience, the massive amount of reusable materials that end up in the landfill. They would do shifts, and we tried to organize these shifts. There were 2-hour shifts where they would spend time at the landfill. That's where we were doing this data collection during the higher traffic times for the landfill specifically. And they would record their findings. So I had a whole set of instructions for them when they arrived and what they would do, and a spreadsheet where they would be asking questions to people who were dumping things and get a sense of what was being wasted that we could maybe divert. So some of the questions that we're asking, what was being dumped today? As part of that, they also photographed what was being dumped and uploaded those photographs to a shared Google album. They also asked people, are there anything you're dumping that could be reused? Obviously, this is subjective, so that's part of the reason we took photographs. Was there anything you're dumping originally secondhand or reclaimed materials? So this was to sort of get a sense of like how much people are already reusing. Is there a culture here of reuse already? And then the fourth question was if there were an organized container for reusable items. This was something that sort of came up as a possible way of diverting things. Would you consider using it? Our initial findings, we had, I think, surveyed upwards of like 250 people coming through the dump. Is there anything you're dumping that could be reused? Not surprisingly, 52.6% of people, the majority, said no. But there were a lot of people, if you put together the maybes and yeses, 47.5% said maybe or yes, there were some things. However, a lot of those materials we deem sort of like lower value, things like pallets and materials that, but you know, if this is meant to be a revenue generating operation and reuse program, it wasn't anything that was like significantly valuable. The third question was anything you're dumping originally secondhand or reclaimed. Again, the majority was all new. Some people, about a quarter, all used, and some people said partly used. The fourth question, if there is an organized container for usable items, would you consider using it? Overwhelmingly, people said yes, and a lot of them said like enthusiastically yes. So that was like an important finding that people are very interested and willing to engage with a reuse program if one were to exist beyond just the swap shop. Another thing that happened this summer is, and I think I mentioned this when I first proposed the idea of what we would be doing, we hosted Sarah Badiali. She's a woman based in Portland, Oregon, who's done a lot of work in deconstruction and in reuse out there. She's also been a consultant for other cities that are trying to create policy around reuse and deconstruction programs. She's written a book about deconstruction, and she's currently writing another book about reuse programs using a lot of case studies that she's personally visited that were really successful, and how it can like improve an economy too. So the revenue generating part. So she came, and Allison and Dave toured her around with me. And afterwards, she, even though this was a little premature, just based on what she found and what she was thinking, based on the conversation, she put together like an 8-page document about her vision for what could work in our area. And I'm happy to share this with everyone. Again, I think it's a little bit premature because we hadn't really done the data collection piece yet. But again, this sort of surrounded the idea of a Dropbox system that could make it easier for people to, give their potentially reusable items to the landfill if there are any barriers there. I think the data collection that we found at the landfill is a little bit insufficient to really move forward with the reuse program at this state. I have been in conversation with Jude Masor and students in that are part of the eco team at Camden Hills Regional High School. I'm really interested in engaging with them. And they're actually really interested in engaging more with Second Story. They're actually even thinking, now that Margot Murphy retired from this high school, aligning the eco team away from like the wind planners and checking on the wind turbine, more with Second Story specifically. So I'd like to loop them into this next phase. I think that, again, since we looked at the landfill and determined that there wasn't a lot of high value materials out there, something that I've witnessed also just like outside of this waste audit and trying to run a reuse store where we're based out of Union, is that there are a lot of people coming in asking about if we take donations. Like there are things that people want to give that have value. We are not doing that yet because we don't have the capacity to do so, but that's something we hope to do in the future. So I think there's a lot of like hidden reuse. There's like a hidden reuse stream that's out there that we maybe didn't see at the transfer station, but things that people have that they've accumulated, and maybe they just don't have access, or it's not easier for them to get it out of their homes or their garages or whatever. So the next round that I'm proposing of data collection to, again, involve these students in is to basically look at, do like a community survey to figure out what the barriers are, what the types of items people have lying around. Again, I've seen a little bit of this just at our store, and figuring out what their willingness to donate might be. So here are some of the sample questions that I think we might like to ask. What reusable items do you currently have? Why haven't you donated them yet? If we could have a drop-off container that would make it easier to separate those things, would you use it? Et cetera, et cetera. I think this could, align with the swap shop. That was one area that we hadn't really investigated yet. So maybe looking a little bit more into some of the more popular items, understanding what people want to take, and maybe are less interested in. That's another thing that I'm working out with our store, is figuring out like you know, how much deconstruction work we can take on at the same pace that people are interested in buying the materials, so things don't accumulate faster than they go out the door. And then also possibly doing like sort of a photo submission campaign as part of this to figure out what even is out there as part of the survey. I also think that if we do this through the school system, you know, they have a listserv of like everyone and all the parents and everything. We could really get a lot of information back if people are willing to participate in a survey like this. So again, this would be hopefully to get a better understanding of the types and volumes of reusable items that are not reaching the transfer station yet, things that are out there that have value. Identification of barriers to donation or reuse, and again, possibly the Dropbox might be a way to make it easier for people. Data to support decisions on program design and where this might be located or dropped off, and logistics, and just also even just kind of putting the information out there with the survey, getting a better sense of whether the community would be really interested in participating in this, and the educational aspect. I will also mention before taking Q&A that someone reached out to me recently saying that there is potentially money in the pipeline for funding for doing reuse programs at transfer stations in the near future. So this is funds that will be generated by like pay for packaging laws. Anyway, so anyway, they told me that a lot of this basically like tax on waste is going to support waste reduction programs, and they're interested already in possibly selecting like 3 or 4 transfer stations to create reuse programs or seed money for starting some. So anyway, I was contacted by this person who didn't know that we were doing this waste audit, saying that you know, the money will be available, and you know, we've thought about Midco Solid Waste as one of the transfer stations, since you know already does the swap shop, you know, being a recipient of some of that funding. So
Is that the waste diversion grants from DEP or the money from the packaging bill? Because that's supposed to be used to subsidize a recycling program.
So
Process.
yeah, I think the term was like the extended producer responsibility laws. Yeah. But it would be through DEP. That's what I was told.
Yeah, and that's, we have such an expensive recycling program. The idea is to pass the cost that municipalities have for running our whole, you know, bottles and cans and all of that stuff, and pass that on to the producers of that packaging, and then have that,
There's like a
have that
compensation.
come back to so that they are paying us for the recycling that we have to do of their materials. That's interesting that they now think they're gonna have so much money that they can expand the, anyway, that's,
Well,
but there's the waste diversion.
Yeah.
too.
yeah, it's a hot tip
Yeah, yeah.
from someone who I trust. So we'll see if it pans out that way. But so yeah, I'm happy to take questions or.
So, you know, I mean, like, stuff coming into the landfill, that's kind of hit or miss sometimes.
Yeah.
So usually when you see things come in that are like, from your perspective of the things that have value, it's gonna be like when they do demolition of some sort.
Correct, right.
So I kind of think like there needs to be some kind of a program with the towns that if you're gonna take down a building, there's a permit that needs to be filled out. Most homes, anytime you demolish a home, you're supposed to be filling out
They all have to get a.
Demo
demolition
permit.
you're supposed to get a demo permit, make sure it's been inspected and there's not, you know, asbestos in it.
Sure.
But I mean, that's usually falls on the shoulders of the code enforcement officer.
Yeah.
And I just don't see a lot of that happening. You know, and I'm kind of wondering if that's like an area where, you know, there's a system where they identify a building that's being taken down through the permit system, and then there's some kind of an outlet to that, like, that's when you would approach those people and say, all right, you can either deconstruct this, or if you're gonna demolish it, it would have to be put in this container, that kind of thing. Catching it before it actually comes to the transfer station.
Yeah, right.
The only problem though is like I mean, we're in the business of trying to be self-sufficient. So if that's the case, then we're gonna want to develop a system that provides the container, and a way of making some money, because we're losing money by not getting that material. It's not as big of a deal when the landfill's closed, because you're really collecting materials and charging what it costs to get rid of them at that point. But right now, it's a revenue stream for us, so every bit we do not take at the landfill, we're losing in revenue, but we're expanding the life of the landfill, so there's that piece of it too. But we need to figure out a way of being able to offer a service, I think of a container, maybe a roll-off type of truck, where you can bring the container to a location. Once you've been notified there's a demolition in the Fort Town area, you could drop the container off. We could, Midcoast could be in the business almost of doing, because if you watch people that are in the trash business and the demo business, the money is in two parts. It's in taking the material and then sorting out the things that you can divert or reuse, and then in the transportation and the rental of the container. So those are opportunities to make money. And somehow, you could somehow, make it, I've talked about this before, right? Make an investment of the roll-off container, take the truck and the roll-off container, drop the container off. And now, you charge them, a fee for that. And we have a lot of ability to be able to be successful at that, because we own the landfill. And proximity is where we're gonna make the most money, because we're close to everybody.
Right.
You're able to outcompete everybody because you're the closest. So that's really kind of the opportunity. And I think, like, if you were gonna tie something into what you're talking about, it would be like, all right, someone would go down, evaluate what's going on, say, okay, we're gonna drop a container off here. If you put it in this container and break it all up and smash it all, it's this much. If you smash it all up and you wanna just get rid of it, it's gonna be this much. And then Midcoast would make money on a little bit on the tipping rate of bringing it into the landfill. It was all smashed up. A reuse company would get that material and somehow compensate Midcoast for doing that, if it's possible. And then Midcoast would make a little bit of money on the transportation of that. That would kind of be how I would kind of see something like that working.
Sure.
How do you,
Go ahead.
no, go ahead.
This is all just,
Yeah, I know, we're just yapping.
Yeah.
It seems to me, and maybe I'm being naive here, that you're simply extending the life of our landfill
you are,
is a material benefit to us.
that is, it's a huge benefit.
Not necessarily, depending on.
We
Cause we
don't-
have to take, I mean, we've looked at that before, where when you have it open, it's bringing in more water and all of
That's
these
true, too.
things, and so. We have to be having it open and not generating very much revenue isn't necessarily great for us.
Well, what happens to the town once this is closed?
You set up a C&D processing area like I did in Rockland. And then it just goes in the container and it just goes to another landfill. That's what it ultimately happens.
Well, will that not end up being more expensive for our residents? It's a question, not a statement.
It's gonna be slightly more, but it's not exponentially more, because where you end up incurring more costs would probably be the transportation. So you'll have to add in the transportation to take it to where it's going, plus what the tipping rate is. The tipping rates right now are probably a little less than ours, but they get the transportation involved. But that's now. You don't know what it's gonna be in the future, you know what I mean?
I mean, I think you're probably right. I had seen in some of the older reports, they were trying to calculate the reduction in leachate that we would have once the landfill was closed.
Yeah, and that's part of the ask we've made of CV is to say, all right, we have current pumping rate, we put on a
Right.
cover, it's got a certain infiltration rate, they'll run the health model, come back and say, this is what the math says.
Right, and what level should we have it at and all that?
Yeah.
If you wanna make, if Midcoast, this is separate from reuse, but if Midcoast wants to actually extend the life of the landfill and make money, the way to do it is you set up a processing area. So you in a container, business, and not a business, but you have several containers, you go out, pick the material up, you bring it in, you sort out good, bad, reusable. And you've charged them for that as you're like gonna throw it away, like you don't throw it away.
Right,
You
there's a.
sort it all out. And then you put your heavies in one area, your wood in another, your metal in another, and you divert all those things. And so now you're getting paid for the transportation and you're getting paid as a tipping rate. And then what ends up happening is there's a little bit left over whenever you do that. That can't be reused, can't be recycled, can't be diverted, and that goes into the landfill. Now you've extended your landfill life and putting minimal amounts into the landfill. But at the same time, you've diverted the cost of all the things that are coming in from a demolition or get produced through C&D, you know, through the C&D process. So you could do something where, you know, I've gone to every C&D processing facility in the state. I've looked at all of them. I know how these guys make money doing it. And they take this stuff in, they make a pile of wood. They make a pile of, you could make a pile of reusable wood, you could make a pile of not reusable wood, you chip the wood as demo wood, you sell the wood. Or you get rid of it at cost, or, you know, no value, but no cost either. So you've diverted that. You get rid of the metal, you put your heavy stuff, your cinder blocks, your porcelain, or things that aren't reusable. Take some of the reusable stuff, don't make a pile for that. Then what you're left with is just a little bit left over. You put that in the landfill and you get paid for all of it like it went in the landfill, plus the trucking. That's where you're gonna make the money. And you're gonna extend the life of, this is how people in the business do it. That's how you make money doing it. Otherwise, you're not gonna, it's just gonna, you know, you're just covering costs. It's a big way of looking at it. It's a totally different way. You're looking at it like a business
Do
person.
we have a kind of volume that would make that worth it? That's again a question, I mean, because.
Well, that's a good question, and it kind of ties with the question that I have is we've got guys that are bringing. Or were bringing us demolition, but they're not now, they're taking it elsewhere.
Because we're more expensive.
We are more expensive,
Yeah.
but can we afford to? I look at our price as okay, I'll slap you and you're gonna go somewhere else. But if we get containers and we're doing this. I'm looking at one right now and I don't even have to say who it is, but $74,000 for trash. Is he gonna go somewhere else?
We should implement a flow control ordinance.
Well, that's a conversation we've started to have.
We are
And
losing
we're
it.
having that conversation. It's not gonna be an ongoing conversation. I'm just concerned about protecting our customers that we've got right now.
And our taxpayers.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And I understand full well what you're saying, and that definitely.
I think ultimately you can reduce your costs or what you charge a little bit when you're doing that, because now you're not basically throwing it all away and you're making a little bit of trucking. You'd have to look at it, but, there's a reason why Traiano, DM&J, ARC, Almighty, that's why they're all making money, because this is what they do, they make money on the demo. The people that make money on the MSW are making it from the trucking, there's no money to be made in MSW.
Yeah.
So there's money to be made in demo, because they can sort the pieces out and then only landfill a little bit and only pay for a little bit.
The other big problem is that a lot of people, the local haulers that we have that would have a CDD dumpster, and bring it to us are. I mean, Wayne Heel is great, but he isn't like out there trying to drum up business. He doesn't return phone calls. He doesn't,
Right.
so a lot of people start by calling one of these local people that would bring it to us. And then they're like, oh, they call Casella or they call somebody else. And those people all take it somewhere else.
That's what's
So if we
happening.
could help some of these local businesses to say, okay, you know, how can we are they having trouble buying the containers or whatever? Figuring out what we can do
Sponsor
to
somebody, you could have a franchise.
even small loans or,
But that's part of what's
Or-
going on is that Casella has bought up a lot of the smaller, like little people that, and what they do is they take the C&D and their roll-offs. And then they take it to somebody that's as close to that location as they can that they have a deal with. And then what the deal is like, hey, I'm gonna bring you my C and D and I'll take your other stuff and I'll bring it over here. So they've got all these angles, you know, they just have the market. And if you're able to do the transportation yourself and bring it to your location, you kind of got to beat because they can't compete with you. So, I mean, it's just something.
They're starting to do this with
It's-
MSW too.
It is something to think about, and it's, you know, on paper, it would work.
Yeah, I mean, you got people that can do this. So,
Yeah.
You know,
You
you
gotta
gotta
have people and you gotta have equipment, you're gonna have an investment,
you're
and
gonna have an investment.
Yeah.
But here's the other part of it that you gotta think about. This is everything you're gonna have to do when the landfill is closed.
yeah,
So it doesn't matter, you're gonna have to do it. So you can choose to do it now and try and make a little money, get good at it while you're doing it. Or you can wait until you're closed out and then learn then, and then.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to do it eventually.
In terms of Danny's thing, though, before, so this is a midway update, and it sounded like you were kind of giving us next steps as to what you were gonna do as part of this. There are a few red flags
Just my proposal,
for
but
me
yeah.
there.
Yep.
First, I think that your landfill data is flawed, because I'd like to see more of that, but to say there's very limited value there, I just think that defies like anecdotal observation. And maybe you were there on bad days, or the kids aren't trained properly, or because there's a reason we've had to make rules over the years about like trying to keep people like, no way, you can't take anything. So there's like a mismatch there. There's absolutely valuable stuff. And then even just looking at like bulk items, like whether we're looking at like things that could be chipped later or plywood, I'd like to have a better understanding of like what's coming in, and maybe there's a way to do that is like installing a camera or something, or monitoring that over time. But I think it would be a very unsatisfactory result of all of this to say, oh, we did an audit and we concluded there's nothing of value in the landfill. And that's a little bit what I heard, and I think that kind of defies everything else that you've been teaching us. And if it's true, then there's something really bizarre going on, and somehow even just when we were doing that tour with Sarah that day, there was a guy like, oh my God, I videoed him.
Right, yeah.
He was
No, I remember
psyched
that,
about
yeah.
the stuff. So that's one.
It really is hit or miss. You
So
know?
I just would like to look harder at that, because I think what we
Yeah.
really want is a better understanding of what is coming into our facility. So you've got the landfill, and then you have there's electronics, metal, swap shop. So I'd like to work harder at identifying opportunities that might be there. And then I definitely don't think we want to get into the transfer station at this point being like a place where, I guess I'm not as interested in what everybody has in their basement that they might want to donate. I think that's a different mission than what we have. I might be able to be like persuaded that could become part of what we're interested in. I think it's really important for other organizations, but that we would want to mostly be looking at things that are bound for disposal and identifying opportunities to keep them from being disposed of if they have value or use.
What's something of high value, I guess?
So like the example that you gave when we were doing the tour was there was like a window that was being thrown out that individual knew, because I think it was a contractor, was like $600 or something like
So
that.
like a window, like a sink.
I mean,
Right,
but I'm talking about
fixture.
even like 2x4s, like
it's not already, compromised or
Or-
broken or something like that.
just like, so those are the higher value items, but then you go to buy a 2x4 somewhere, or a sheet of plywood, or so what is coming into the facility that's like, oh, if you just started by having somebody pull out all the 2x4s, and what does that add up to? When I went to a transfer station in California, they had an exclusive contract with one salvaging company, and they had a guy or two with a truck that every time somebody dumped something on the tipping floor, he was there with his denailer. They were loading things in their truck, and they took it to a store, and they would grab all the 2x4s, all the so I guess I would I would like to see the next phase of this, like digging into a little bit more of what is actually coming to the landfill.
Sure.
And even if if
So,
the
so
2x4 plan isn't smart for some reason, I'd like an answer to that kind
Yeah.
of, I guess.
Yeah, so I mean, some of that data we have, I just didn't really break it down, like,
Okay.
you know, I don't know, I mean, like Dave was saying, you know, there's ways to play the game, like getting wood and like chipping it, like making some profit there. So I could be more specific in terms of breaking that down, the data that we do have, because we did, again, photograph what was being thrown away. They were writing down what was, what was being
And we
thrown
don't have to
away.
get into all that tonight. I'm just
Sure,
saying in terms
yeah.
of before we launch an investigation into what people would donate from their basements. I don't see that as part of what Midcoast wants to sponsor for, as part of the the investment that we're making in, from your proposal, I guess. I see that as a separate thing.
Did you have something?
Well, I think you may be misinterpreting it though, because I think that stuff in the basement is rich for the swap shop and that's.
For Habitat for Humanity, or the swap shop isn't meant to be someplace that we're really encouraging people to bring stuff to the swap shop as much as, and I mean, I think that deserves the number one demand from people is like, they want the swap shop to be year round. And there are definitely people that end up throwing things away. They need to get rid of it right then. And because the swap shop is closed, they might dispose of it. But we do try to say, we'd really rather like Habitat for Humanity or like the individual places where they can put things to the highest and best use rather than encouraging people to donate their things to the swap shop, I guess.
One thing you mentioned before though was that.
Maybe this
some
is a
people
larger
were like,
conversation.
oh, if we knew we had a place to recycle whatever, we could, it's like in my basement, I've got lumber, I've got all kinds of stuff. It was like, it's too valuable for me to just toss and
Right.
pay for it. Was there a number of people like that?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm,
anticipated?
that's what I'm seeing.
More than here's a lamp and a chair.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm seeing a lot, just in my own business, is a lot of people, not wanting to see things thrown out, having a lot of items that they don't know what to do with, or how to get rid of, and Habitat's been investing more in just like going to people's houses, like and picking things up for the store. I think they have a bigger capacity to be doing that now.
Habitat doesn't always take stuff.
Correct. Yeah. So there's
I've
like
got a friend who
like
lives-
lumber, for example, they don't really do anything with. They hope to in the future, but right now it's mostly like domestic item, appliances and doors and windows and stuff that they can store at their facility. But lumber is like a completely
Yeah, a friend of mine
untapped.
lives in Bodenham and they've got this place that's called Barn of Opportunity. It's what it's known as, and it's a barn that's next to or part of or something with dump down there. And the things that she has scored from that place, people just drop them off. She got like a brand new, practically crate and barrel sofa table for not just to pick up and take home.
Oh, that's like a swap shop too.
And so, that I can, and it's year round. And so there are things that, could go into a year round swap shop that people aren't getting rid of because they're too good to just dump. They don't necessarily want to take them to Goodwill because Goodwill is making money off of poor people. And, and so maybe there's a place for something like a barn of opportunity. Not that, not that big a structure, but some sort of way to amplify what the swap shop does. Because otherwise, when I sell my house, if my kids don't have room to take it or don't want it, it's going in the garbage. And, because there's no other way to sort of put it out there other than the lady across the street from us, that there's always a table of junk that she's got up there on a picnic table for free.
I mean, I've taken stuff from the swap, not the swap shop, the demo bin, more times than I can count, and sold it. Like, and used it, and I personally don't believe that there's not value there. It's something's going wrong if you're not.
Danny, if we like, let's say we fast forward, we say, all right, we're gonna set up a rack. And we're gonna collect just windows, doors, sinks, and milled lumber, normal lumber, right? We'll say, and we just have a place for that to go. And then you were able, like, you had access to this. How could, like, would people want that stuff? Like an old window, not a new window, like an
Right.
old window. You know what I mean by that? right?
Yeah, sure.
Not an up-to-date window, just some of it goes anywhere from being glazed to being just like an '80s window, let's say. It's not energy efficient, but it's a window. Is there a market for any of that?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
There is.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
so,
So much of that.
Green.
so, I mean, so what I've seen, and
Very
Benny
nice.
probably, Benny would know too, because he's there all the time, but what I've seen a lot of is that. It's filtered in and it's not steady, but if you have a place for it, it accumulates quickly. Like in a month, you could have 10 windows, right?
I remember that,
You know, you can get 10, 15 windows, let's say.
You have to staff it. I mean, you have, because
Yeah.
people, once you say put something here, they put whatever they
Well,
want.
Just start dumping.
Well, you have to put it where they're gonna have to throw it away, so it really doesn't matter.
We had a clean wood versus dirty wood for a long
I'm not
time.
talking,
The clean wood was.
The wood's
supposed to be
a little-
nice.
the wood's a little different, but maybe you could have a pile.
We have to be able to generate enough revenue from some of this that we can staff it appropriately. That's the point. We don't wanna be bringing in way more stuff that we're just gonna give away for free. Because we want it to be done at a level of quality that it can be like, you know, Josh Garrett's and his dream has always been that the transfer station be somewhere you could go and get a cardboard box. Like how many of us need a cardboard box at any given time and might have to buy one of a certain size? If you added the transfer station, like, oh, these are the
But
small
it's
boxes.
like you with the medical supplies, right? You say, I want medical supplies, and then everybody puts them between the building, right? That's not really staff, no one's really doing anything there. They just stack. I know it's not perfect, Beth, but you're not, but it's never gonna be
Not this
perfect.
time of year.
But the thing is like, if you just had like two places, and one of them's for windows and one of them's for doors, let's say.
Right.
That might be a start,
Yeah.
right?
I mean, and that's essentially what, Sarah was proposing with the Dropbox, like having a very specific, it's not anything. It's like,
Right.
we're gonna be doing doors for this month or whatever it might be, and then,
So what I would think is this is gonna be with the landfills, right?
yeah.
So, I mean, it'd be the makes the most sense. So if we're going
Most
in.
people don't even go to the landfill. They just use the a lot of people just use the demo.
That's
concept.
part of the problem is, it's,
Or it
that,
doesn't
yeah,
get destroyed there either. So.
but like if we're making the access road, you won't have to go all the way up now. You're only gonna have to go halfway up. Maybe we just flatten an area out and we put a sign here that says doors and windows and let people just put it there if they have to. And then if it's a mess and we gotta get rid of it,
It's already in the landfill.
it's already in the landfill. We just grab it, we throw it in the landfill. There's no work in that.
Yeah, yeah.
There's no staffing. You gotta think about
What's the
it.
benefit to the people doing the dumping?
Getting rid of them.
A lot of things-
Well, he said some people said that they would rather recycle it than just throw it away.
Yeah, I don't get me wrong, I mean,
I hear what you're saying. Usually you give them you give them a break on the cost of getting rid of it, right?
Yeah.
That's how you incentivize that.
I'm trying to get a sense for, I mean, personally, just, and again, I'm not sitting out there
Yeah.
on a day-to-day basis. I wasn't remotely surprised that there's no value in that junk that's going up there. That didn't surprise me.
Mhm.
So when he said it, I thought, yeah, okay, that makes perfect sense to me, but I'm curious what your opinion is, because you're there every day.
I mean, I think I'd kind of go back to what Dave said, like it filters in, it's not like, oh, every load that comes in is obviously gonna have value to it. But like if you do something like that, right, and it catches on, then you might see more like, oh, holy crap, like we're getting a lot of windows and you're getting a lot of doors now. Versus when it's all mishmashed together or something and they're dumping it and then you can't, I mean, we're not there like, oh, like what's in this pile of wood, right?
Also, there's,
We have rules about, we don't let people do this, like you ask people how, they'll tell you how mad they are about when the transfer station changes policy and stopped allowing salvaging. I wish you could grab things from the dump like you used to be able to. We prevent people from taking this and then we bury it in our landfill and take up space.
Part of the issue with all of this though is if you make a pile and someone comes in and you say, oh, you got a window, we're not gonna charge you for that.
No, you can't do that.
But let's just say, I'm just hypothetical.
Yeah.
we'll charge you half of the window or door. And they go up and they put it in a pile, now we got a big pile of windows, a big pile of doors, they're gonna disappear just as fast as they're gonna be put there. That's the other side of it.
Yeah,
Because people are gonna be like, oh my gosh, a window and a door, I'm building a camp, and they're gonna grab it and take it. It's true. So you're not making anything by doing that.
Yeah, you gotta.
And also
charge
if
for a
people-
Normal price.
yeah, going back to the idea I had for the next phase of this, I think people have stuff that they are holding on to because they don't have an outlet for it, that has reuse value. And again, there might be, plenty of situations where people are just throwing that stuff out, and people are picking it, no one's looking. But I think if there were a dedicated container and that was part of the culture of the transfer station, then people might bring not just the things that don't have value, but the things that maybe have a little value. They just don't want to see it go into the landfill.
For free, and you're suggesting we take this for free?
I think there could be a fee for that.
You're touching on something there, is in terms of what we are as an organization, who we are to the four towns. Are we gonna try and get people to culturally change their thought process, so we don't throw it out, reuse it? Do we feel like we have to make money on that?
That's another way of looking at it.
I want the swap shop to be, I wanna have the infrastructure for year-round reuse, and we don't have that now.
The swap shop, I'm just talking about generally speaking, in the community itself, that it is the first thing they think of. Reusing some material and having an outlet for it. Whether we make money on that or not.
So BIW had that
I-
philosophy, it was called a compliance plus is what it was, and it was like Kevin Gildar was the vice president of the company, and he was like, you know what, he liked the environmental department, that was his little pet project. And he would say to me, he'd be like, you know what, if sometimes, you're not gonna make money on everything. And like, I'll give you an example, so aluminum oxide and garnet, and it's all this sandblasting grit, we would recycle it, we'd collect it. And there was two ways to get rid of it, either we would throw it away, or we would recycle it to a company that would make it into an aggregate or a cold batch or something like that. And it was costing us more to send it to the company to recycle it than the company to landfill it. But it was a philosophical decision that BIW wanted to make so that they could say they're doing that.
That's what we do with our entire
We do with
plastic recycling program, right.
Right, so it's what you're saying.
Well, I'm not suggesting that we actually have to lose money. Well, in all seriousness, I mean, is there if we simply say, don't bring your intact windows or doors, take them to Danny or whatever.
That, yeah,
That's what I'm getting at. In other words, we're not investing anything other than communication.
Yeah, you could, that's another.
that's what it's better if we can,
Don't-
have another destination, if we're a hub for that information. Oh, Habitat for Humanity wants toilets or whatever the thing is.
That's another one, like, people take furniture over there all the time.
I mean, I'm just kind of looking at it as a mission statement, if you will, of Midcoast Solid Waste being service to the four towns to help people make better decisions. If that extends the life of our landfill, and I realize it may generate more leachate over a longer term, but you get my point. I don't know whether or not that's just good enough. I mean, are we stirring this so hard that?
Well, that's why we're doing the study, right?
Yeah, I know, I'm with you, and that's why we're.
The board before, it's so funny, because here I am, I'm like, I sound like one of those old guys that used to be like, this thing, we can't spend money on recycling. But, because the board, this is a very different conversation than normally is. In the past, it's been that in order to consider expanded reuse programs, we have to find a way to fund it, or, because it's been like the swap shop is just this big problem, and we don't want to have these people here, and as soon as you have the swap shop, you got more people hanging around, and that's what I've heard for years. But I think you're right, the community actually loves the transfer station, likes the idea of it being a place where you can go and exchange ideas and items with your neighbors and socialize a little, which is why I think we should have a year-round swap shop opportunity of some sort, but it is in our mission.
So your recommendation is you're looking for some type of an area, or?
No, he's gonna do more data collection.
This is just
Yeah.
an update.
Okay,
There's an update and yeah, I think,
what I'm getting at is we've kind of gone out around
Yeah.
what we're doing here.
Sure.
I'm starting to lose people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So if we could wrap that up, that would be good. And the conversations are great. And we need to have these conversations, but we gotta be home before 9. So if we can.
Maybe we need a little reuse subcommittee for all the people that want to sit around and talk
Oh,
about
come on.
reuse until midnight.
So anyway,
Do we need to give, direction?
Maybe-
I think he was-
Or,
Well, I mean,
direction from this, right?
yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, so I can,
what do you need from us?
approval that, so I think Allison made a good point that like there might be, you know, I did kind of generalize what has value and what doesn't. And I think that can be, you know, presented in a more nuanced way.
You gotta find one thing in the landfill that's going to.
Well, again, it's not,
20-some-odd%.
yeah.
We're gonna.
So
wanna keep
it
it
was,
that.
yeah, of the things that people said had reuse value of, you know, think a $600 window versus like scrap wood, you know, that's like a 4 foot, you know, whatever, like that was the percentage that was representative of. But I do think there are things that certainly getting thrown away that, you know, yeah, I mean,
The people disposing of the item are oftentimes the least able to identify that it's valuable, is the
Yeah.
other thing. When you ask them, that's why a lot of the times you find better stuff in the demo bin than the swap shop. Because the people that are like, this is valuable, a lot of the time it's not.
You're watching too much Andy Roadkill.
I'm obsessed with this, you'll learn after a while.
So,
I mean,
yeah,
I sell thousands of dollars of things that people throw away. I sell that for organizations. That's like. So I've been proven right in the past.
yeah, so in any case, the second round of data collection, I think, will hopefully give us more information about, you know, if we were to institute a reuse program and sort of align the transfer station with the possibility of getting these reusable materials somewhere where people could access them and also get them out of their homes if they're, you know, are just sitting on it because they don't want to throw it away. I think that's what I'm trying to tap into. So.
You could have like a hazardous waste collection day, but have a demo waste collection day too. That would be another thing.
Yeah.
You could do, like a day where you just say, hey, you think you got something any good? Bring it.
Yeah.
Oh, that could be fun.
That could do, you could do something like that.
And we could have a food truck too.
Leftovers,
we better-
leftovers,
Well,
food trucks.
thank you very much.
Thanks, Danny.
All right, yeah, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Yes.
You know, for an hour in your interim report, I can't wait till the final one.
Okay, our next item on the agenda, treasurer report and financials. We've all had a chance.
Covered that, right?
We've all had a chance to look at this. I think everything looks pretty good. Talk about it. Is there do you have anything?
Just that we had somebody that was a little delinquent and I've
Yep.
I've reached out to him. I've told him that he should set up a payment plan.
He lives in the town of Hope.
That's good.
Okay, great.
And he owes
Yeah, thank you.
a little bit of a touch, yeah, but he's gonna pick one. And he's picking away at it, so it worked out well.
That's good. That's all we can ask for.
Yeah.
But he's not charging until it's paid off, right?
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, he shut off. But he was ghosting us.
Yeah, I get it.
On this list,
Yes.
Yes,
can you tell us?
You can look, it's the ones that are that you can see their
sticks right out.
columns where the stuff.
Well, thank you. Oh, yeah, look at the.
We talked about it a little last night.
So it helps us.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
Two.
this is one of the things the board used to do. The board would like look down and be like,
Okay.
oh, that's one of my citizens. And
Is there anything else that anybody needs to bring up before we entertain a final motion?
Move to adjourn.
Second. Thanks for being patient, everyone.
This was like,
Okay.
oh, I guess we have to
Any-
vote, right?
Any questions or concerns? Okay, all those in favor?
You guys are a good board.
You guys are a great board. I feel so proud to be a part of this board. It's so nice.
So astrophysicist Brian Cox, COX, you know Brian Cox, have you heard of him? Are you familiar? Brian Cox, he has a podcast